Essentially, the whole idea was let's just see what the market's telling us.
I think a lot of people overcomplicate business in a big way.
Knew what needs to be in place, if we're gonna get hit or not, and what the price is gonna look like.
The next year, I went to every networking event. I shook hands with everyone that wanted to shake hands with me.
We have high trust with every customer we deal with.
If you do those four things,
Yeah.
you don't need a business degree. Even in school, they don't teach you, hey, build. At 24 years old, I was let go of my corporate job. By 34, I was financially free with an 8-figure net worth. This podcast is all about taking adversities and turning them into financial success stories. I'm gonna ask for one small favor, and that's for you to click subscribe. Now let's get to the journey. Masood, welcome.
Thank you.
Welcome to the podcast. I know you've been following for the last 6 months and direct messaging me, commenting,
Yep.
and you finally came on.
Yeah,
I've been pushing you for a while now, but this year marks 25 years at Yarmand.
It does. It's definitely a milestone we're proud of, and it's a big one for us. Just reflecting on it, there's a lot. There's a lot there.
And today marks your nephew's birthday.
Yeah. So coincidentally, when we started the business, or when my family started the business, less than 2 years or a year and a bit into immigrating to Canada, um, this month, probably to the day, my brother and I were putting our walls to a little storefront that my dad and my brother hopped into, just starting a business in Canada, living the Canadian dream. And we were just putting up the wall, setting up the shop 25 years ago, almost to the day.
And your dad came from Afghanistan. He built a business there, left it to migrate to Canada, and started Yarmand when he came here.
Yep, pretty much. So been uh, been in an entrepreneur business family pretty much all my life. My dad, my uncles, um, and my brother, who's a huge part of the business now. And he's much older than I, so he was always a partner with my dad. Ran a good business, true entrepreneurs. Then life changes, and we had to immigrate, and we came here with very little, just enough to get here and survive the first little bit. And I think for about a year or so, they just did some market research the old way, driving around, going place like Home Depot. They just knew that they could make something happen, because that's what they have done before. And they're like, what can we do? But to start a shop, or sign a lease, even a small one, with very little Canadian experience or understanding of the environment here, and then just jump into business with no clear idea of what the next step is, but have an idea of we could make this work because we have done it before, type thing. Like, there's a playbook here. We'll figure it out. So yeah, 25 years ago, it was an 8 feet wide storefront, very small. It's the size of one of our offices today, very narrow. And if you know Ottawa, it was in Westboro, out of all places, which if you drive there now, you wouldn't imagine a business like us, because it's all like cafes and restaurants. But that was the start. And I mean, there's a lot more there, but that's how we began, with a dream. And dad and my brother were kind of there, and I was there from the get-go as a teenager. Spend most of the time in the business, as most small businesses and family businesses go.
You said something that really intrigued me and triggered me was you came for the Canadian dream. What was the Canadian dream for your dad coming to Canada 25 years ago?
Probably, a better life, education opportunities, just your typical new place, thinking of the future, thinking of the kids. Yet he's always lived a very full life himself, and always encouraged us to do the same. So it was like, yeah, this is a good place, and we're very, like, we love Canada. I mean, it's great. We have a business here. We support the Canadian way and all of that, and it's amazing. So it's just better opportunities and establishing new routes, right?
So he came here. He started. Tell me a little bit about Yarman and what did he start 25 years ago and how it evolved today.
Right. Well, funny enough, not many people notice it wasn't always called Yarman or Yarman
Mhm.
Tech. That was later evolved into it. Our storefront sign, I think I might have sent you a picture of what it was. We were called Idea Pro Motion.
Okay.
And the reason that's important is because our families, or my brother and dad's background is in manufacturing, design, industrial design, build, machine building. So real stuff. Like they would design their own stuff and build it. And my dad is an inventor and helping inventors type thing. So the dream was, because they had some similar venture of that, manufacturing fabrication. We start with that same name here. And I know IDEA stands for something. I don't know the full acronyms anymore. Integrated development something. So that was like we put that storefront, but we're selling. We put tools for resale. My dad was still trying to get an understanding of how the industrial design and build works here. Same with my brother. But the gist of it is, when money's running out fast, and it's not just supporting the business, supporting a family, you got to do something to earn money, right? So we did everything. We bought and sold used tools, um, started fixing stuff, just because that's what
You had to
was.
figure it out.
I had to figure it out. My dad, networked his way. He got a few prototypes that he built with very basic equipment. Like we didn't have money to have the all the fancy stuff to to have a proper shop, but they had the know-how to do it even with basic tools. So he had a few projects like that. We just rolled with it. So it wasn't like, yeah, we have a business plan for 5 years and we're gonna do this. It was just like, you gotta figure it out one step at a time. And
Isn't that what entrepreneurship is?
looking back now, I think so. While I was in it, I didn't know anything else, and that's what we were doing. And my brother and my dad, and I was in school, and I would go after school to help out with the shop. Um, the only thing I could think, reflecting back, is we always had high standards in customer service, in the quality of the work, um, and high standards into, even though we had a little shop, we treated it as this big business with like structure and professionalism, because it didn't matter we were small. We knew that we could, or my dad and my brother knew that, we have bigger things we could do, but we had to start somewhere.
It was bigger than just that 8x8 or 8x10.
Yeah. Yeah, essentially. I mean, it was a long storefront, so it was narrow and long. Um, and then we're not in that business anymore like we do. We're, Yarman today is well known for power equipment, sales, service, and parts. We cater to many high-end residential homeowners, as well as many businesses and commercial clients, and that's the business we are in today. But that all happened also by accident, where customers came and said, we said yes to a lot of things early on, because why not? Can you do this? Yes. And we figured it out. And
Do you recommend every entrepreneur do that, especially for the first venture?
it's probably easier now. You could test market much quicker, right? Like, we live in an age where you could put a post, and if it takes off, then you could start the business. That wasn't the option back then, at least not in our circumstances. It was more like, let's just, try different things until one sticks. So we were a mix of fabrication, design, build, and then we started selling stuff, and then building stuff. Like within the business or the ecosystem, we tried so many things until this one was one that brought more consistent revenue. This industry, and we were new to it. We were an outsider to this industry, so just started fixing things. Um, Essentially, the whole idea was, let's just see what the market's telling us. And we were well received in the neighborhood, I guess. People just started showing up, curious, who are these guys, what's idea, what's promotion. Like, and curiosity led to led to, interactions. And can you do this? Yeah. I think how we got into this business, somebody must have showed up with a lawnmower. Can you, it's not running quite right. Can you fix it?
Mm.
And my brother probably was like, yeah, yeah, I know engines. We'll figure it out. And we fixed it at a high standard again, cleaned it all up. And he told the neighbor, and the next thing you know, the other guys bring his other machine, and that's how it evolved. It wasn't like, oh yeah, we have a business plan to do this, this, and that. There was a plan there, but not, not all figured out yet.
And I don't know your I know your brother on occasion, and I have never met your dad. But dealing with you over the years, you're very business savvy, business plan or business idea, framework, know your numbers, know your financials, know everything about your business inside and out. I mean, I experienced your knowledge through the back end of like accounting and finances, and I could honestly say not too many people knew their numbers of the business from a complex, your business is complex. You
Yes.
have inventory, you have current sales, you have invoices, accounts payable, trade partners. Like you have a lot and you knew every dollar that came in.
Yeah.
If you rewind back to when your dad started, who's taking care of the numbers? Who's taking care of the finances? Who's taking care of that at that point? Because from experience, inventors know how to invent and create and build. When it comes to finances, they kind of
Yeah.
push that aside. Was
Right.
that your dad? Was that your mom? Who did that?
Uh, I think I role model after my dad and my brother,
Mm.
because even then, as I mentioned earlier, even though we're a small business, good records were always kept. We had ledgers by pen, and there was a structure, money going in, going out, even if it was $5.
Mm.
So they had the discipline running sizable businesses.
Mm.
They had people doing it for them, but it was like they they knew what needs to be in place. And I role model that, and of course I learned my way through it as well, and brought my knowledge or learned through it. But we were always in that mindset of, got to do it right, structure it right, figure it out, money in, money out. Um, it wasn't always perfect, but there was good record keeping, and doing it that way. Yeah, for sure. Um, but then, we could get into that, as we evolved, and it's like, okay, in the business, on the business type stuff. And I, you know, over the years, it's like, let's do more on the business stuff. And that's where you dig in more into the numbers and figure out where the direction goes. But you're right. The business we currently run is not is in a way. I mean, in all business have complexities, but the way I look at it, we almost run three businesses under one roof, because our service side is different structure, different complexities. Our parts distribution, which we do Canada wide, is its own thing, and then the sales, and then the whole business as a whole. So it's not like a one item thing. There are complexities, but that's the nature of what we do.
And the last 5 years has it been one of the hardest 5 years in the 25 years of business? Like I look back at COVID and your type of
Oh,
business was, you know, COVID then,
yeah,
tariffs now,
yes,
like
nonstop.
it's nonstop hurdles.
COVID was tricky for us because nobody knew at the first few weeks what the heck we're gonna do, um, because there was nothing. But it ended up being as terrible as COVID was. It was our industry was not negatively affected as
Mm.
much as some other industries. But I will say this, that COVID made us do things in 5 days that would have taken 5 months. I would even argue 5 years, because we were in such a crunch to just figure it out on the spot, and just run with it, make things happen, because the world around was just chaotic. I mean, we all remember in distant memory. So it was good for business. It was good for execution. We pivoted. I mean, you were there for some of it in the back end with the numbers and all that. We pivoted overnight. We're lucky to have some of the things we had started, including our online sales Canada wide. So that just blew up overnight. So things were like that. Like when you look at it from a business lens, is like that's when we rolled up our sleeves and really dug into what the opportunities were. The doors were closed, but we turned into a distribution center overnight.
And then now post COVID, how much is was a lawnmower in 2020
Oh, gee,
to now? Like,
it's gone.
so yes, there was a win there, it seemed like, because you were able to be agile and pivot and be able to really reap the benefits of the distribution.
Right.
But now are you seeing the consumer behavior be like, I can't pay $10,000, $15,000, or that hasn't been effective yet?
A little bit. Tariff has been a whole different game than COVID, because during COVID there was money, people are spending.
Mm,
Um, People are still spending because we're again in that whole essentials bin.
mm,
Grass still needs to be cut, snow needs to be dealt with. So if you take all of it out, we're still an essential type work. So they need to spend some how to take care of that,
mm,
either by hiring somebody or doing it themselves or whatnot. And we cater to both sides, so
mm,
we're good that way.
mm.
But tariffs have added a complexity to business that is almost like a curveball.
What are you noticing on the tariff front?
Uncertainty. So it's like you never know if we're gonna get hit or not, and what the price is gonna look like, or if supply is gonna be even um, available. Because what happened last spring, because of tariffs, a few of our suppliers that are they're mostly American based, either manufactured there or comes through there. Oh, knocked out your mic here. Um, and there was a few suppliers that just didn't ship because the tariffs didn't make sense, right? Like how do you absorb 25% um, of cost, right? And so far we're not there because those are the retaliatory tariffs. If you know how that
Mm.
all worked, that was the Canadian government charging the US to retaliate the tariffs we were being charged. So it's been a bit calm so far, but you never know. This could change, and that's like, okay, either things are more expensive or supplies tighten. What do we do now?
So, other than the retaliatory tariffs, there hasn't been an effect on your business since then.
Costs have gone up
Costs have gone up.
because there's like tariff is so complex, as simple as it sounds, because it's like few word tweets that we read, 100% there, 20,
Right.
but it affects supply chain in a much more complex way because cost of materials goes up. So for example, if there's tariffs on steel, well, all these equipment use steel, so all of a sudden there's an increase in price, and it may not be a tariff per se, but the cost has gone up because your new price is different than what it was before the tariff on that. So
So how do you manage that? Like, how do you price that?
um, some of it, I mean, it's hard to absorb all of it. Some of it is just that's the new market price. It's not just me. It's not just Ottawa. It's it's not even just Canada. It's across the board.
Right.
So that's just the new reality of cost of things. I mean, you go to the grocery store, you it hurts, but you still fill your basket and off you go.
So are you in conversations with these suppliers and be like, okay, if there is a tariff that's coming in, you know when it's coming in, you know that that machine or that product is going to be increased by, because an
Yeah.
invoice from a supplier could be 20 different machines and only 5 be increased by 25% or whatnot. Like, how do you keep that
Sometimes they don't even know.
right?
So they would
That's what,
they would have a price list, and we set everything up for that, and the next thing you know, there's a new price list. So you gotta react quickly and then pivot to that new pricing, and sometimes could be considerable. So they don't even know. It took some of them a few weeks and even months to figure out the first wave.
and when you're going through your pricing, and I'm trying to really nail down your accounting because you do it so well.
Yeah.
And I think it would help a lot of entrepreneurs out of how you're so detailed into that.
Right.
Do you, when you receive an invoice or a supply, and when I was running my business, it was pretty straightforward. I get an invoice from a Canadian supplier
Yeah.
or a contractor. I
Yeah.
know I pay the sales tax.
Yeah.
I send them the bill. It's pretty
Done.
straightforward.
Right.
But once you get into multi-province, multi-country, different external factors, if you don't know every cent that comes in and out,
Yeah.
your 10, 15, 5, 10, 15% margin could be
Yeah.
decimated
Gone. Poof.
in
Yeah.
a couple months of just not knowing your numbers.
Yeah.
You know your numbers. What's your philosophy around that?
So being on top of it as best you can. So the way it works in our industry is the price list or the 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 prices are set by manufacturers essentially. So there will be a price list issued, and how we keep it, or what we could control is to make sure that we have the latest always loaded into our point of sale or CRM system, so that when we're selling, it's the latest. Because like you said, having a price that's a month or two old, it used to be once a year update. Now
Right.
it's not. So keeping up with that. So when we do offer or provide a quote or sell that item, it's at the price that is true, not at the price that was, not is, so to speak, right? But that's the complexity of it, because one side is the administrative factor and the accounting side to make sure it's up to date. Then the other side is the marketing, the relationships, because we have to give our, let's say, our business customers a heads up and say, hey, I know you were looking at X, Y, and Z, or upgrading your fleet. Just so you know, we
Right.
are we are in a situation where things could change at any time, and that could mean prices are up or supply is not there at all,
Right.
and that's going to affect how you run your business.
So you're calling these customers and
Yes.
being like, "This is what we heard from the supplier. Just an FYI.
Yeah.
We might not
Good.
even get the parts. We might not even get the material.
100%.
Or this is the new fee.
Yeah.
Do you want it before I put it on the
Right.
the room?
Yeah,
Like
or
the
or
showroom?"
or or because the way we approach business, and that's, going back even when we started 25 years ago, is trust is our currency. Okay, so we have high trust with every customer we deal with, and the same goes with respect and all the rest of it. So that's the backbone of how we run our business. So if we're dealing with a client, doesn't matter if it's a homeowner or a big commercial client and everything in between, it's like, okay, you trusted us enough to say, hey, can you help me? And we said yes, and that's where we started. So now I'm gonna make sure I take care of you in a way that to maintain and earn your trust always. So in this example, when we know there's something coming, it's not news we hide under and say, oh, okay, uh, I can make some extra money here and let's go. Hey, this is gonna happen. I know how much you were considering this. This is the news. What do you want to do with it? So fact base, you know. So either they pull the trigger and say, yeah, we gotta figure this out together, almost like a partner with them rather than just a transaction.
Mm.
So that's how we approach that side of it. But that doesn't reduce complexity for us. That almost adds complexity. But that's who we are as a business. It's like simplifying things for our clients. So that's what our business stands for. But on the back end, being very on top of things. So we have a team in place. We have our operations manager, admin team. They just their day to day is to make sure we don't fall. And communication is key. Like just yesterday, we had a visit from one of our vendors, and most places may just hash out how's it going, or complain about some issue. We are like, okay, what's down the line, or what's happening. Like having those meaningful conversations, doesn't matter who it is another thing that we think it's crucial when you're in business, especially when things are complex.
Yeah, and don't quote me on the stat, but 50% of businesses fail within the first 5 year. I think the stat increases after 10 years.
Mm,
You guys been around for 25 years.
yes.
Having that reputation, that trust, that loyalty, that partnership, it's all raw emotions, raw connections.
Yep.
Is that your secret sauce?
It has to be like I I think I'm an entrepreneur by default. I've never worked for anybody. I've grown up in this business and kind of taken on my role and space in the business and contributing to it. That's the approach I've taken, and I think I could say the same with my brother and other family members that are part of it. Um,
Do
we
you ever think before you keep on going? Do you ever think the grass is greener on the other side?
Sometimes you wonder, but then you look, is like, no, I don't think it is. 'Cause then you talk to a few people, and I mean, just if we're comparing entrepreneurship versus working somewhere, I mean, you have your story about laid off to eight figure. Um, Look at what the government's going through right now. The safest place to have a career, is it?
No.
Right? So it's like, yeah, the grass is quite green for a while, but you know, things change. So you always will, I think personally speaking, you'll always have that, oh great, like the opportunity cost of XYZ, but then when you look long enough, there's in a longer period, there's always ups and downs in everything you can imagine. That grass goes through cycles too. It goes through drought, goes through, I don't know, floods, whatever. If you're giving that analogy, so staying the course sometimes is not such a bad thing, especially if that enables you to do things. Like I believe we have built an ecosystem. So we're in this industry, in this business now, but I consider even more so now is like I'm in the small business or entrepreneur community more than I am in just the outdoor power equipment industry. Now that's where the nuts and bolts of my business currently is. But I talk to different business owners, and when we do talk to even our clients, we don't just talk machines anymore. Like at least I don't. It's like, how's business? What's happening? And we go off on a tangent on marketing, and here he is asking about a quote on his fleet. So that's, and I've heard this. We do it this way. Not every business does it. We don't just say we're in the machine business. What do you want? We're like, hey, we're in business, and you're in business. What's going on in the business world? Kind of like what you and I are doing here. That's the approach we've always taken.
And you've mentioned to me a lot about the goodwill of Yarmand and the 25 years of building those relationships. How do you value that? How do you how do you put a
Like,
value to that from like what's next for Yarmand in the sense of because with business owners we also have to think about succession planning.
mm-hmm.
Do your kids want to be a business? Will they default into being a business owner? Well, it sounds like your 3-year-old who's getting ready for this podcast as well
Yeah,
is defaulted to being an entrepreneur.
right.
So
Yeah, he wanted
that
to
might
come
be,
today.
yeah, that might be a way to pass on the legacy.
Yeah.
Is it a legacy for you? Is Yarmand your identity? A
Um,
part of it, not your full identity, but is it part of your family's identity?
Definitely a big part of it. Yeah, especially that our name is literally riding on it. Um, we did not start this business with the exit in mind, as some would suggest to do. As I mentioned earlier, how we started was basically to make a life, put food on the table. Went through all the hurdles of that. Like our day-to-day work wasn't to, hey, let's just do this because we could 10x this and exit. It was like, let's do this so we could go buy groceries for the family.
Mm,
Right? That's very old school way of
right.
starting or running the business. Yarman today is here because of those, like the foundation of how we think and do things have not changed ever. So how we served customers then and today are pretty much the same, except the scale is larger. Our name is more recognized. We were known as those guys or the lawnmower guys or whatever they would find a way to identify us or go that street and so see those guys too. Now we're proud of the fact that like if myself or one of our team members walk in with a Yarman jacket or logo and they're like, oh Yarman, I know you guys. And not only that, I say, yeah, like you've done great work for us. And that's something that we are, personally proud of, but also that shows that the business is now known or has some kind of a trust factor in a brand. And the other part of that is our reviews. Like we use our reviews as a metric of making sure we're on the right track, not to quantify it
Mm.
to some extent. Is our team is always, not just us, our team looks at that and say, yeah, we're on the right track or we're not. And we're very lucky to have really high ratings. And I think we're 1,500 reviews across all platforms right
Yeah,
now.
I just saw Google's at like 1207
Yeah,
or something like that.
just
1200.
Google is inching to 1,300. Then we got all the Facebook. Then we have our parts page, which is like a separate, its own page. I think we're over 600 just there, and that's, if you combine it all, it's like a lot of people saying a lot of mostly good things. There's legitimate complaints that we address, but that's one way to quantify, and that also helps our team to say, hey, we got to keep up this
Yeah,
level.
and it's funny because I think a lot of people overcomplicate business in a big way,
Yeah.
where if you peel the layers back, be a good person,
Yep.
build a relationship, build quality work, and build trust.
That's it.
Like if you do those four things,
Yeah.
you don't need a business degree. You don't need, and that's coming from someone that, I mean, I went to school, I got my MBA, and but even in school, they don't teach you, hey, build trust, go out and build relationships. And I remember when I launched my first business, I was so arrogant because I had the schooling
Yeah.
that I said, I'm just going to put a sign on an office lease and people are just going to
Yeah.
roll in because
They'll
they
just show up.
know who I am. And that tax season, no one showed up.
Wow. Your
And
first year.
first year,
Yeah.
lost $97,000. I'll still remember the day, the year.
That's a lot of money for a first year.
First year, lived with my parents, worked at the hospital. All the money that I was making plus some went to the business. All the money that was going into the business went out the door because of my arrogancy and because I didn't think, I thought, oh, you need these core values of driven and get on a boardroom table and create these core values that no one understands and no one relates to, and
Yep.
you know
Very corporate structure
very
from the get go.
corporate theory bullshit
Yeah.
structure. Versus the next year, I went to every networking event. I shook hands with everyone that wanted to shake hands with me. I had real conversations.
Right.
And guess what? When they needed their taxes done,
Yeah.
I was the first one that they would
Yeah.
call.
A lot better results, right?
It was,
But you had to learn that. So that almost 100,000, that's a big amount when you're starting out. That could crush some people,
yeah.
right?
Oh, yeah.
That could have been, but that's a lesson. Aren't you thankful you learned it in your first year?
Well, I've learned a lot of lessons.
You know,
I could go through the thousands of dollars I lost.
but you did something with that, and
Yeah.
I think you hit the nail right on its head. That's what entrepreneurship is about. It's like you will fall 100% of the time, but when you fall, you get up and you stand taller. There's something in that.
And
Yeah.
it's funny because even naming this podcast, it's not just about the success. It's about getting let go, not having money in your bank, figuring it out, going through the adversities, going through the tariffs, going through the COVID. Like you are
Right.
going to be faced with anything, but going back to working for someone, people think, and especially with the Canadian culture, there is a understanding that security is based on working in the government,
Yep.
working in the hospital. I can tell you firsthand, you can work at the hospital in a corporate world, having that corporate degree and let
Yeah.
go. And someone else has complete control of your destiny
Yep.
versus you being an entrepreneur facing all the different types of adversities. You're going to face it either way.
Yeah.
It's who would you rather bet on? A manager or director or yourself?
Yeah. I think that ties into that whole concept of having agency, right? Like, I think Naval talks about it. I listen to things I forget to the full thing of it, but I grasp the core ideas. I think having agency is powerful. So even us being in business and going through the struggles, yeah, the easiest way might have been like, my dad and my brother just get a job and go on with it. And I think, my brother at least did for a bit just to tie us over type thing. But once you're in the business mindset, like you can't unbox that. Like once your mind expands to that, you
Yeah.
can't put it all back in
No, you can't.
and say, yeah, like so the agency aspect, I could see, our own 25-year reflection is when things got tougher, you had levers to push, right? Like you did something. Like I remember we used to fix because we started repairing things before we sold and had all these fancy equipment. Nobody would give us anything, right? Because who are you guys?
Mm.
It takes a level to get there. And then we would flip the shop and start fabricating. We used to do skateboard rails and ramps.
Mm.
I'm not a skateboarder.
Mm.
Neither is my brother. We didn't even know what a skateboard was until we saw one and these guys doing his thing. But somebody showed up and said, hey, like my kid's birthday's coming up and we need those things that they jump on. And because, we could weld and all that. So we said yes to that. And then we, talking about agency, that was one lever we could push on and say, okay, can you go tell your other buddies that we could do this? And then that became a line we carried.
What is agency?
Control over um control over what you want to do is how I would see it, right?
Mm.
Like if you're working for somebody, you don't have a whole lot of agency. Like you can't
Mm.
just say, I'm gonna go build this now.
Mm.
Well, no, you're not.
Mm.
If you work at a hospital or
Yeah.
if you have a
Is
job,
right.
the as much freedom as you have in your role, somebody's telling you what to do.
Mm.
There's a structure.
Mm.
But when you're an entrepreneur, who cares?
Mm. It's all on you.
Yeah, all you
So
care
your
about.
agency in that example was someone came to you. You had the freedom to use your skills to understand their business and then offer.
And just say yeah.
Right.
Yeah. When you're on a corporate job, how many times can you say yes to new opportunities that
Right.
are outside of your role?
Gotcha.
Right. Now there's trade-offs to that. We don't have a regular paycheck. But what I mean, what I want to emphasize is, if you're in business, things get tough. You may not even make a lot of money at some point, or do and whatnot, but you have agency to do something about it if you choose to.
Right.
And to me, that's what defines entrepreneurship and being even a small business owner. You could choose to serve a customer and give them more value and get more in return. I don't think you could do that in a job, can you?
Mm.
Even if you wanted to,
Right.
right? You may get a bonus for doing a good job. But to your point about security, I
But
don't
yeah.
think anything is secure. I mean, business is not easy,
Yeah.
and being employed is as stable as it sounds. I mean, just looking at what's going on with the government and all that, you could just see that, if the most safest jobs people thought are not safe, then the rest is up
Yeah.
for discussion.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
The rest is up for discussion.
Yeah.
Going back to now, your 25 years and it evolving to now. Now we enter an era with AI.
Yeah.
I saw in my neighborhood a robot that is cutting someone's grass.
Yep.
Like, they always say, white collar workers are first to be disrupted by AI because it's computer jobs,
Yep. Thinking jobs.
followed thinking jobs, followed by blue collar workers, and you fit in the blue collar
Yep.
era. You sell to fleets, you sell to all this stuff. I think what's next for Yarmand? Like, is that hype for blue collar workers? I mean, I do think from a white collar perspective, and I could speak to accounting, I'm building this app that I'm seeing every day the advancements of AI, uh, coding, transactional work get automated.
Right.
I'm seeing it.
The grunt work.
The grunt work, the data entering, the admin, the full process. I see that. My mind is not there where there's robots doing stuff for us. Like,
It's coming.
It's coming.
Yep.
I hear
It's coming.
Elon and Tesla always talk about it.
Yeah.
But what's your take on it? Because you're in that industry. Like what?
So funny you mentioned that. We have been in the robot mower game for a while now.
Okay.
So it's nothing new. To your surprise and many, I mean, the first robot mower was out in 1995
Oh wow.
by one of our brands, Husqvarna, who's still one of the leading um, robot manufacturers. They've actually pivoted almost fully to robots uh, and doing that. So robots are gonna be the reality. I mean, people don't think about it, but we have robots in our home already and for a while. Like the dishwasher is a robot.
Mm,
Your Roomba is a robot.
mm,
Well, now you have a robot mower. So technology is evolving. It's getting better. And the same thing with AI for white collar you mentioned. There will be tools for blue collar or physical work in forms of, let's look at robot mowers, for example. The approach or the thinking I'm looking at it is not going to happen overnight. It's taken a while for us to
yeah.
get to where we are now. Uh, we sell, deploy, now more and more helping organizations and businesses use robots in their business,
Mm,
right? So there's almost a split, but we're starting to see more clarity around this. As it was an intimidating thing for business to say, "Hey, like this is gonna take jobs from me. I'm, I get paid by cutting grass, and the robot's doing it." That's now turning into, "Hey, can I use robots to do the grunt work of mowing grass, which doesn't pay very well anyway?" Like a lot of these companies, they don't make money off cutting grass. They have to do it because that's a part of, like, a big part of what is required, but they rather be doing flower beds, enhancements, doing other higher level work. And let's call grass cutting grunt work can be done by a robot, to the extent that now, I keep up with industry news and I go to trade shows and I have regular meetings with these folks. There are large format commercial machines that you could purchase, and that will do instead of sending a two-man crew to the job, you could have one robot, one man or woman, person in a truck, and it will have the same effect because the robot will do all the the mowing for you. So that's what's happening in my industry, where it's a real thing. It's
mm.
not a concept anymore.
When did that become a real thing?
Last 3 to 5 years has been a big shift. Last 1 to 2 years has been extremely accelerated just because there's so many players in the
Mm.
game now. Like CES, the Consumer Electronics Show, you would go there now, and for our industry, you will see so many players there now.
That's the one in Vegas?
Yeah, the huge one.
Right.
And this industry is very traditional from beginning, but now they're rolling out stuff at CES. You would have never thought a lawn and garden and agriculture type stuff to be at that show, but it has its own segment now. Forget about our industry shows. Like there's a few. There's one in the big one in the States. There's a huge one in Toronto that just passed in January, and then there's one in Ottawa happening March,
Mm.
uh, first week of March. And the amount of technology that's available is taking leaps, and it keeps getting better, and the competition is getting um, a lot too. Like it used to be one or two. Now everybody has a autonomous version of their machine.
Wow. So are you selling this as well?
Yes, and selling in a way that we are. So remember the whole innovation piece I said about how Yarman has always been like what's next type
Mm.
thing, and then the whole trust factor. So we are now guiding whoever wants to understand and get on this to help them transition. It's not going to happen overnight.
Mm.
Just the same way with AI.
Yeah.
A lot of people are going crazy about, oh, I got to do AI. I got to do AI. I got to do AI. Well, what are you going to do with AI in your business? If you're running a business for many, many years, you need to question how AI is going to help you rather than I just got to do AI because everybody's doing it. I think Chris, what he was one of your guests too. His podcast was
Yeah.
great. shedding light on this, and I met him at a few events too. His thing was first figure out the tasks and the work, and then see how AI applies. Not like I need AI, let me find things to do with it. The same goes with the hardware technology as well.
And I think, and this is where I'm leveraging your experience to build a business for 25 years.
Hmm.
There's probably a lot of hype every 5 to 10
Oh yeah,
years.
yeah. Shiny objects.
This shiny object of keeping your core base and being patient with seeing how things evolve.
Yep.
With AI, there's never been something that has been moving this fast.
Agreed.
I was talking to my developer a year ago. He would do, and I posted about this, he did 1,000,000 lines of codes in before AI. He did 1,000,000 lines of code in 7 years.
Right.
A year ago, he did 1,000,000 lines of codes in 6 months. Now he can do it in like 2 months.
Crazy. Yeah.
So the speed of everything just, so if you look at his role, he's adapting to all the AI infrastructure to be at the forefront.
Right.
But if someone started in 6 months, they're already 2 years behind him.
Yeah.
Because it's moving so quick. And then it just moves quicker and quicker and quicker. The speed of things are just moving so quickly. So I'd be curious of, does that change your mentality, or it's like keep the foundation, test, keep the like more the slower methodical route versus the all in, I don't want to miss this boat type of thing.
Right. The
And,
challenge.
and more for blue collar. Like I'm gearing my mindset towards the blue collar, industry.
Yeah. And that's where we're at, right? Like we talk to blue collar all day long, right?
Yeah.
That's our core
Yeah.
customer group. Um, Speed is not helping. Like just telling people to be in a hurry is not making them make decisions faster. If anything, it's overwhelming them.
Yeah.
So the approach we have taken is we want to be your partner and consultant and advisor and beside you to figure this out together type thing, right? So if you come to our showroom today, we might be the only one in the region, if not, yeah, definitely one in the region. Like we have set up, physically shifted how we do things. So electric and autonomous are the new way for our.
What does autonomous mean in your industry?
So autonomous is no different than a car, you drive it, or a car drives by itself, which is autonomous.
Yeah.
Um, a mower, you drive it, or a mower that drives itself and does the work for you.
So you just
Fully does its own thing.
so you would just put it on the front yard.
Yeah.
It has like a GPS of.
Yeah, you set it up, so there's a process to train it. So think of it like you bring a puppy home and you kind of walk it around and show it its surroundings so it's happy, and then you just let it play. So that's the traditional robots you're thinking of.
Right.
You might have seen one in your neighborhood, and that's great. That's been the go-to up until now. That still exists, and it's good for homeowners, and it's also good for commercial clients who want to offload that work to a robot. You have a complex facility. We have had several clients that we help do that for. Robot day in and day out cuts the grass, looks always pristine, and then you just go check up on the robot, clean it up, give it a high five, do your other enhancement work in the landscape industry, and then check on it later. And you have an app to monitor what it's doing. So it's like an employee, but it's a robot. But also autonomous is also now into the larger, like you see those guys driving the big zero turn lawnmower or whatever. They are now becoming smart and autonomous. And in between is also the whole electric versus gas question in my industry, because we're in a transition phase of traditional equipment that's been around for years. Everybody has them, is still dominant. Not much tech in it. I mean, they improve things just like you could improve a combustion engine car, like how much technology can you put in it,
Mm.
make it more efficient maybe, versus electric cars with all the bells and whistles, tracking,
Mm.
monitoring, efficiency, speed, safety, low maintenance, all of that in one basket. So there's a shift towards electrification, and there's a shift through automation, and they're almost happening together, and automation is starting to take leaps. But adaptation is where it gets tricky, and that's where there's parallels between that and AI adaptation.
Mm.
Because the way I see it is, you mentioned speed. A Formula One car is super fast. If I give you the keys to it, what are you going to do with it?
Yeah. Crash it
Right?
or throw up.
Yeah, it's like, even if you liked what you saw that car does for you,
Right.
you wouldn't know what to do with it.
Yeah.
Even if you got on it, turned it on maybe, or turned it on, how don't know how you turn on a Formula One car, you know, you wouldn't even know how to get into it. I think some of the really super fast, like being at the cutting edge of all these technologies, is, to me, that's what it sounds like. And I get the same feedback when I'm speaking to clients I speak with in my industry. I describe what's going on. Some of them are like, holy, it's too much.
Mm.
So I think there's a difference between being cutting edge or maybe even bleeding edge, because you sometimes don't make a ton when you're experimenting, and being thoughtful and say, hey, I want to build something greater that attaches to this fast movement.
Mm.
And knowing that is the $1 million question,
Right.
which is leadership, right? Figure.
Yeah. It's funny. I also listened to a podcast, and this serial entrepreneur is like, I never want to be number one anymore.
Yeah.
I want to be number two, because number one can make all the mistakes, and number two could reap the benefits of it.
Yep.
And then the other entrepreneur said, that means you're getting old.
It's true. It's true.
Because when you're young, you want to just run fast and kind of make a lot of mistakes. But then when you get more educated, or like more experience, you're like, oh,
Yeah.
how do I get there faster without making less mistakes and keeping more dollars?
Because you know how this cycle goes, right?
Yeah.
Like, you don't know exactly how the AI wave is going, but you have seen, I mean, digital marketing was a huge thing.
Yeah.
In my industry, we were pioneers in our area. We had like
Right.
12 websites at one point.
And now,
They're still there.
right.
There's
Yeah.
still like lead pages, maybe, but this was at a time that a typical dealership in our industry didn't even have one website, no Google page, nothing. We had multiple websites, and when we had a good group around us, like, credit goes to one of my cousins who helped us strategize all the marketing and some of the stuff.
Mm.
And that helped us bring us to where we are now. And I remember having conversations with other dealers, because we were, naturally very curious, like, how are you doing business? Yeah, we just open the doors and people show up. Well, sadly, some of those businesses are either not doing too well now, or they're not there. So that's just keeping up with the times, right? And AI is going to be another wave where I agree to you. You have to be in it, figure it out for what it means for you, but not everybody's going to be on the cutting or bleeding edge of it. Not everybody.
Yeah.
If you would, and there will be high returns for those, that's great.
Right. Bigger risks, bigger rewards. Transitioning to family business. So I don't know if you knew about this, but in your university, I was the president of the family business club.
Wow, I did not know that.
And second generation family businesses, I think 78% fail because the second generation doesn't want the business, didn't start it. There's a lot of complexity around it.
Yeah.
Number one. Number two, the dynamics always change when you're dealing with family versus if you're running your own business and you're dealing with friends, relationships. But once you get family involved, you don't just see them in the business, you see them in
Yep. They're
birthday
always there.
parties. They're always there. How do you guys make it work? Like, what's the dynamics? And
I think we've been very lucky
mm,
and blessed, because I do I do hear what you just said about, it's tough to be in a family business and always be around, right? Like, you finish a business meeting, then you go to a family gathering, it's the same people.
Yeah.
The secret for us and what's helped us is we've always m- made that distinction. We did not blur the lines in that way. Like I work with my brother, high respect for him. He's my role model for most of my life. Many years seniors to me. We're business partners today. Yeah, we have business conversations that we hash it out, but never um, trust, respect. All those things have been there, and the most important thing um, is keeping family and business as separate as you can. I know it's hard to do. We never made it the same. So if we had a heated argument or discussion, I should say, in a business setting, when we saw each other outside of business, it didn't affect that. It was like, yeah, we're brothers, we're family. Same goes with my brother-in-law. He's a big part of our business and for many years now. And he runs our operations, brilliant, intelligent, um, and same thing. It was like we have family relationship and we have business relationship, and I think that's been our secret, to be honest. You know,
Was that ever talked about, or just naturally embedded? Like, did your parents ever say? Was there anything that was taught to you, or just?
I think we have said this line many times, like business is business, family is family. We have said that many times. This is business, family aside.
Is your dad still alive?
Yeah, yeah.
What does he say about all this?
He's still as inspirational as he has been. We just celebrated his 90th birthday this year, and look through his life. I mean, he's been working since he was 5 years old when he lost his dad at a young age. Him and all his siblings, all my uncles, true inspirations. If you want, you know, within the family, we've had many inspirational moments and stories of how they make things work, right? You know, um, brought themselves up, built businesses. One of my uncles, same thing. But yeah, he's still around. He still checks up on us. You know, you've been to my office. He would come hang out. You know what's remarkable is the he still cares about the people. So when I'm having dinner with him at night, I go home. He asks about every team member and how they're doing, and if is everything's okay with them.
Mm.
How is so and so? You know, how is that person by name? And when he shows up, it's like everybody runs to him. Is like they love him, give him hugs and all that sort of stuff. So that's a cultural thing. I think that's. I mean, another thing is when you're in business, the sooner you realize you're in people's business, it doesn't matter your industry or items you buy and sell or service, you're still dealing with people. And if you could take that to heart and deal with people as people, you'll be fine because
Mm.
it it it, it takes away that whole transactional thing first
Mm.
mindset.
Right.
And we have done that with our team members, customers, vendors. Doesn't matter who they are. We see them as people first.
Mm.
Just by default, it's nothing. We don't have a plaque and saying people
Yeah.
first. We just do it.
Right.
And I think that translates into the culture of our business. When somebody walks in, uh, it's ingrained in everybody to put the person before the transaction.
And how about your mom? What role does she play?
My mom passed away when I was really young,
Oh.
so not a whole lot at least not in the current, like since our life here. But she played a huge role in my siblings and my dad's success. And to this day, my dad tells stories of that because, my dad's he's my dad, so I could talk all day about him. But he's super high educated, yet very entrepreneurial, and always had a business, even if it was on the side. So he holds a master in mechanical engineering and a PhD in economics. Well educated, but he's still a business guy. He he always had something on the side. We call it side hustle today, but and sometimes I think that saved us a few times, including the time we immigrated to Canada, having that business mindset.
And did your mom work in the business, or she
No,
supported
she
the
was a
family?
stay at home and supported the family.
Hmm. So before we get to the lightning round, is there anything else I missed asking or you like to bring up?
No, I think we had a good conversation. I mean, there's a lot there. We could talk all day, you and I, about business and point, but I think we had a good discussion so far.
So going to the lightning round.
Oh boy.
What was the first moment you thought this business is going to work? Like, was there anything in the last 25 years or when you started and you're like, okay, this, or did you always think that? Like, this has to work?
I think it was this has to work, and it still is that way. But now we're thinking outside of that, being established. Something we didn't touch on quite is like what there's that builder phase of business and
Mm,
personal, and then there's that not coasting, but you have a structure in place. I don't know about you, but I sometimes miss those hard days of just
mm.
building,
Well, that's what I'm in right now.
right?
So
Yeah, it's
I might
enjoyable.
miss those.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love
Like those
that.
first years, as tough as they are, and I'm telling stories, and I mean, it's hard to put it to words. Um, but it's like the energy, the adrenaline is different. But no, like it was always it has to work. There was no exit plan of that sort, and I think once we moved to the location we're in, things became more defined as to this is the industry we're in, and then we did all the rest of it that brought us to where we're today.
In one sentence, what do you want customers to feel the second they walk into the Yarmand showroom?
Comfortable.
What is the biggest snowblower buying myth you hear every winter?
um, that any snowblower will get the job done, not knowing that Ottawa winters are different than even Toronto winters. The amount of snow varies, so you got to buy the right one. Not every snowblower will do the job for you.
Repair or replace? What is your rule of thumb when a machine comes into the shop?
Depends on the condition, the brand, and all that sort of stuff. So without getting technical, um, if it's a reliable high-end machine, repair it. If it's a cheap machine, you didn't pay a whole lot to buy it, don't repair it and get a reliable one so that it could last. Just like when you buy a car, you're not going to put a lot of money into a cheap car, but a good car, you will maintain it.
2 days before a storm, what question do you hear most often?
We used to get that a lot. It's like, my machine doesn't start. How do I start it? People forget, right? Like, stuck your snowblower in the garage, and so it's gotten better because we have built into our customers the system where we kind of guide them through that, and even send emails to some and all that sort of stuff. But we used to get that a lot. How do I start this thing?
You have 1,000+ reviews. What is one operating principle that drives that consistency?
Rating. I think leading with trust and integrity. Because even when we invite folks to say, hey, if you think we did a good job, leave us a review, we always appreciate the fact that somebody took the time to sit there and click and write, and that's trust and integrity because they saw something there and they thought they should speak up.
What metric do you watch the closest in peak season? Is it the phones, web traffic, inventory, cash flow, service backlog?
All of it.
If
Like,
you had to pick one.
um, phones are important and all that because of the operational customer service side of things. But we actually track storm data, so we'll see what happened after each
Mm,
storm, how many
that's cool.
service we got, calls, and the rest of it. You have
With
a lot of snowblower questions.
with your 25-year business anniversary coming up, what do you want the next 25 years of Yarmand to be known for?
I think a lot of the same. Um Trusted partner type mindset will remain. We may not even be in this industry at some point, but being in business, that would be the foundation, I would say. And that will amplify into many other things. Right? If there's trust, if trust is our currency, I think we could trade it for anything.
When a big box store undercuts a price, what is your best counter move?
We focus on education and quality because if they're cutting price, it's usually not for the same value. So we focus on the value part of it.
What is the most underrated role in your business that keeps everything moving?
Underrated role. Mm, I think it's the role of the integrator type. So like operations. I know it's not taken for granted, but it's like, yeah, it's always there because of the structure, but without it, nothing much else matters. You could have the greatest vision. If it's not run right, it won't work.
And you probably know about the closing question, but if you could leave a sticky note on your first laptop before you ever got started, what would it say?
Yeah, I noticed you asked that, so I was reflecting on that. Um, I think it would say trust that the dots will connect. And the reason I say that is because this is an excerpt from Steve Jobs' famous Stanford speech, if
Mm,
you ever seen it,
mm,
and it's been with me a while. Essentially, what he said, I'm paraphrasing here, is like you may not know that the dots connect looking forward, but when you look back, they connect.
mm,
And my own reflection of the 25 years tells me that is true because there's things we did we had no idea what is this going to lead to,
mm,
and it led to something. But when we look back now, like we're sitting having a coffee or just discussing how did we get here, it's like, oh, we did this and then this happened. And even today you and I are talking this podcast, I have no idea, but it's going to connect the dots somehow. So yeah, trust that the dots will connect.
love it.
Yeah.
Well, Masood, thank you for coming on. Thank you for being an entrepreneur in Canada and building a business over 25 years that, you've built such a loyalty to your customers and to your partners that goodwill will carry you for the next 25 years and longer. One thing that really intrigues me is just your business acumen and how you operate the business. And I, li- I do feel so strongly about knowing your numbers and knowing everything, the ins and outs of your trade and your craft. And longevity helps that too. You've built it for 25 years, so you over time probably small pieces to get to
Yep.
where we connected a few years ago, where everything about it. And I think that's so valuable in business. And that was one of my secret sauces, is I knew all my numbers in real time. And I always had that scorecard to be able to make decisions, what's best for the business, best for the clients, and best for me.
Yep.
So I really appreciate you also taking time to telling your story and keeping that Canadian dream going and keeping that, a life for people that are ambitious and are entrepreneurs to go do it
Yep.
and just keep on working hard and you'll get there. And it's if you unravel the onion, it is the trust, it is the hard work, it is things that anyone can do.
Yep.
You don't need this
Absolutely.
fancy degree to be a successful business owner or even a business owner to make a living.
Yep.
If people wanted to find you, where's the best way to find you?
LinkedIn would be best. I'm not in a lot of other social medias. Um, so LinkedIn would be the best. You could look up, even Google it. You'll probably show up Masood Yarmand, or Yarmand, and you could read about us. But yeah, I also want to thank you, Dave. For having me and having this conversation. I agree with you that entrepreneurship is or can be for anybody because there's multiple levels and layers to this thing. It's not a one, like people a lot of times see the big business people and say, oh, if I'm not that and I'm not an entrepreneur. You could be a solopreneur, you could be a creator, you could have a small shop, or you could do the high tech. just just know that by doing so you are in control of your creativity. You have agency on what to do, and then the thrill of making it work. Is it easy? No. Is it fulfilling? Yeah. You Some days you may make a lot of money, some days not, but the fulfillment that comes by doing things, I think from my 25-year experience, money aside, that fulfillment is there in entrepreneurship if you lean on it. So thanks for having me, and we had a great chat.
Thanks.
Share this with a friend so that they could be a part of this journey too. Keep watching for more.